What's going on, everybody? So today I have an interesting video for you all. I'm going to be doing an updated most important dailies guide. Now, I did this way early on when Diablo Immortal launched, and since then it's pretty much remained the same. There are a few changes that have been made since this recent update. I got a message on Discord, as well as a bunch of comments, a lot of new players testing out the game or returning players. So I figured, you know what, this is probably the perfect time to get you guys an update on that. Now, the way this is going to work is I'm going to go over all the daily activities that I would personally do when I log into the game, but considering that 2-hour time span. I'll go over the things that I kind of do after that in the miscellaneous portion. I'll leave timestamps in the description down below, and I also will sort it based on how important it is to do, meaning the things that are first on the list you're going to want to do immediately when you log into the game. If you don't have all that much time, do this first, then this, then this, then this, etc., etc. All right, let's get into it. So the first activity is going to be the Helliquary, guys. Now, this is not necessarily a daily activity. It is a twice weekly activity. It's going to be on Monday, Thursday, and you can do it at any time between Monday and, late Wednesday before the reset to Thursday, and then from Thursday to late Sunday before the reset on Monday. This is incredibly important. One, this is going to give you a ton of legendary gear. Okay, you actually drop a ton of legendary items in the Helliquary. You get a ton of experience as well. Do not underestimate both those things. But for the Helliquary itself, this is going to be a time-gated activity, meaning that similar to the server Paragon, you can only progress as far as the game has been alive. For example, here, I am arguably one of the most progressed people on the Helliquary in the entire game. I've been doing Helliquary every single Monday and Thursday. I think I missed like 2 resets, period, of the entire time I've been playing this game. And this is the cap that I'm at, 37. Now, if you're able to go ahead and do it every Monday and Thursday, you're going to get the Void Blood Slags, which are going to go ahead and get you your levels on the Helliquary. You're going to get the Demonic Remains, which is going to give you extra combat rating. And overall, it's going to help you progress a lot easier, especially if you're a casual player, to go ahead and get your combat rating up slowly but surely to catch up to Hell 6, Hell 7, or Hell 8 in the future. The next one on this list is kind of comboing with number 3 on this list, and that depends on how you go about doing this one. So number 2 is going to be the Bestiary turn-in. Now, I personally would do 3 a day if I possibly can. The reason for this is you're going to progress your collection progress. You can only get pages from the Bestiary turn-ins 3 times per day. What that means is if you're trying to collect the unique monsters and you're missing one, the only way you can fill in that page is if you do it one of the 3 times in a day. If you go past that, you're going to get the XP, you're going to get the drops, but you're not going to get the actual page turn-in. Now, this is incredibly important, mainly for the recent update that they've added to the game. You're going to get a guaranteed legendary item if you do a Bestiary turn-in every single day. Now, I would highly recommend you guys do at least 1. I personally would recommend 3. If you're doing 3, then it should take you about an hour and 20 minutes. It's going to be a substantial portion of your time. But again, as I mentioned, you're going to fill out category number 3, potentially, while you're doing this, and you're going to catch up to the server Paragon, right? It goes by 2 levels every single day. You can see here, it's at 404. I'm at 402. I've kind of been just right on server Paragon every single day. And this is going to help you stay up to date with the server Paragon. It's going to allow you to get some really nice legendaries every single day. And it's going to allow you to fill in your Bestiary tab, and hopefully allow you to do category number 3. So number 3 is going to be your normal gems. Now, the reason I mentioned Bestiary before the normal gems is because if you're doing the Bestiary, the best way to do the Bestiary every single day is to get in a group farm and run Realm of Damnation. If you only have a limited amount of time to play the game in a day, you're going to want to run an open world farm group, or you're going to want to run a dungeon team with 4 people in it. You need 4 to get your normal gem drops. The reason I'd recommend open world farming is because you would want to get a singular hidden layer as well, because in this game you're going to get a total of 12 normal gem drops, 6 from group farming and 6 from the hidden layer. Therefore, you're going to really want to push those 6 drops within the bestiary turn-ins, as I mentioned before, to get your monstrous essence, get your normal gems all at the same time, and then hopefully you find a hidden layer, which if you ship farm like I do, you can log in for about an hour and 20 minutes, complete 3 pages, find a hidden layer, bam, 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 get your normal gems, log off for the day. Boom, you can even just do those set things and you should be decently progressed in the game. The reason I mentioned normal gems so high up on this list is because this is one of the only real few ways to progress your character's power, by getting damage stats, by getting life stats, by getting armor pen, potency, resistance, and so on. This is going to be one of the main ways that you can actually progress your normal slots or your secondary slots over here, which is why it's incredibly important that you do it every day. And if you're free to play, this is one of the few sources of platinum on your account, which is super, super important. The next one on the list is going to be the Ibn Fod Sanctum, or the Legacy of the Horadrim here. This is a very, very quick activity. You're going to run through here, clear the mini dungeon over here, get your 4 keys, and then cash in on at least the first room, okay? The reason why you're going to do this is you're going to progress your secondary stats similar to your normal gems here, your damage, your life, your armor pen, but it's time gated as well, unless you're going to buy a bunch of packs or spend a bunch of platinum, which you should not do. So you're really going to want to progress this every single day. This again is another way that you can actually get stronger as a character. The other things on this list past this are things that you can kind of do at any time. There's really no time gating rather than your own personal time in the game. But Horadrim, your normal gems, and that type of stuff, those things are hard time capped. Same with the Helliquary, which is why they're higher up on the list, because if you don't do them, then you're going to screw yourself over in terms of character progression every single day. Now, the Horadrim here, doing it every day is quite nice. You're going to get the 4 keys, and that's really what you need to get every day, is just the 4 keys, and open that first room. And that does help out a lot. If you decide to skip it, it's not a crazy big difference. Like, this doesn't game change your character, but if you're finding every way to min-max it, this is another way to min-max, and you're going to want to do this daily if you're someone who cares about that type of stuff. The next one on this list is literally the bane of my existence, and that's going to be dungeon clear. So with the recent changes, you're going to get 1 singular set item per 3 dungeons per day. So you're going to finish 3 dungeons. You're going to get a random set item that can be from any single dungeon, any single set item, and you get this once per day. So you need to finish 3 dungeons if you want to get that daily income, or if you're like me and you really hate doing dungeons, you may not do it for 3 days, stack up a bunch of them, and then just run them all at the same time, which is what I tend to do. So either way, if you have extra time, I would definitely recommend running at least 3 dungeons on whatever dungeon you choose to do so. It doesn't necessarily have to be the boosted dungeons, but I would recommend going for the boosted dungeons because of, it's going to be boosted drops. So that's going to be pretty important. Now, after this, we have a few more other things to talk about, but one last activity to really hammer home every single day. So last on the list, before we enter the miscellaneous type stuff, is going to be the shadow or the immortal activities. Now, there's 2 caveats to this, which could put it higher up on your list. The reason I have it near the bottom is a lot of people don't have clans, so they can't even do this. Everything else on this list, you can do. Okay, you can do every single thing on this list. Even the Helliquaries, you can literally just find a party and join it. You don't necessarily have to be in a warband. In the Bestiary, you can just randomly join an open world, normal gems, again, Horadrim, daily dungeons, all this type of stuff. Shadow and immortal activities, you need to be in a clan. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, if you are in a clan that wants you to participate, this could be number 1 on your list, because you're like, okay, they'll kick me from the clan if I don't do this. Okay. And then I guess the kind of third point, I said 2, but there's actually kind of 3, is how much you care about min-maxing the very minimal rare crest that you can acquire from doing the activities. What I mean by that is you have some sort amount of hilt, okay, in the game, hilt generation in the game. You will eventually have not enough hilts to spend on rare crests. If you're a free-to-play player and you care about getting the minute progression that rare crest is, and I can't stress this enough, this is a very, very, very slow legendary gem progression. We're talking months upon months upon months upon years later on. Like if I wanted to just do rare crests, it would take me years to get an upgrade. So I don't even necessarily bother with that. But doing things like raiding the vault, doing things like the Shadow Wars and the Rite of Exile to try to push towards Immortals, to get Immortals to go out and get the hilts from those activities. That type of stuff could be very, very interesting, okay? And can get you a little bit of normal or rare crest to get you a little bit more character progression. So all that depends on what clan you're in, how hard you can push, and whether or not you care about that min-max over the course of months and months or years. Other than that, the other two activities that are kind of, for shadows are going to be the assembly and the contracts. And then for the immortals is kind of the Kyan's Ordeal or the Corvus Expedition. The assembly is worthwhile if, again, you care about the minute value of keys. So it's kind of similar to that Horadrim level. Assembly in of itself is actually worse XP than just open world farming. So if you don't really care about the 4 keys that you're getting, then don't bother. This takes more than double the time, sometimes triple the time the Horadrim would take. And the difference between the assembly and the Horadrim is the Horadrim is going to get you the 4 keys per day. And actually, the more efficient way to use your keys is going to be using only some of them every day. So you're going to get more value out of that. That's why it's higher on the list than this one. The contracts, also another way to get some value out of it. It's actually decent XP. If you're fast about it, if you know how the contracts work and you've done them and you get a decent contract, these can potentially be really, really heavy XP boosters and legendary item farms, similar to the Bestiary, but there's no guaranteed one, which is why it's a little bit further down the list. Again, if you have a clan that cares about all these activities, bump it up your list. If you have a clan that doesn't care or is a little bit more laid back, like myself and our clan, we don't particularly care. If you guys are absolutely grinding this every day, do it when you possibly can. And that's, it is what it is. Other than that, we're going to talk about a few miscellaneous stuff before we wrap up the video. So the first thing is everything to do with the Battle Pass here. So Battle Pass is a really, really important thing to focus on if you're looking towards going about getting the most amount of XP as possible. You can see here I've saved basically all of my my points, because what ends up happening is, near the end of the Battle Pass, I tend to play a little bit less. So it's basically my break time, and then I cash in my Battle Pass points for that lower experience rate, or rather the lower level, which gives me the higher experience rate, because I'm typically around Server Paragon, or earlier on in the game, I was like 11 levels above Server Paragon, and so I cashed it in then. It allows me to relax a few days. Rather than popping it as I go, I would constantly get lower experience, it's not like a crazy efficient method, okay? This is just basically allowing me to keep up to Server Paragon while also taking a break from the game every month. That's basically the strategy I run with. But for everyone else, you don't need to save it. Just spend it as you go if you want to. But capping it out every week is particularly important. Not only that, but also getting the rewards from the Battle Pass is going to be pretty extensive. And for some reason, I can't click on the Battle Pass. Pop it up. There we go. Rare crests are in here, legendary crests, normal gems. This is going to be extremely, extremely important for you to do. The reason why it's not higher on the list is because every single thing that you've done on this list, Helliquary, Bestiary, normal gems, Horadrim, all that stuff gives you points towards the Battle Pass. So this is kind of going to complete on its own. The second thing is the daily activity rewards. If you are a free-to-play player, these matter quite a bit. You're going to get a charm, you're going to get 100 hilts, and you're going to get 300 platinum. This is one of your few sources of guaranteed platinum generation. Again, you're going to probably finish this by the time you've done the first couple of activities on the list. So I'm not going to worry about it too much, but it is something that you'll want to pay attention to make sure you're cashing it every day. And it does stack over the course of 3 days. So if you miss a day or 2, it's not that big of a deal, because you can just pop off the third day and grind a bunch and get that back down to 1 kind of basically stored up. After that, guys, basically, what are you going to do after you've finished all your dailies? Well, that's kind of where the freedom comes in. There's going to be dungeons to farm or open world to farm. There really isn't anything else to do. It's open world farming or dungeon farming, okay? I'll add here that you could do battlegrounds. If you like PvP, you can get the 3 daily rewards from Battlegrounds. And lastly, you can also go ahead and do the daily gambling over here at the Rarities and Antiquities. And you're going to want to check the shop for the Hills Trader every day. Those two things are, you can gamble every day if you choose to. You're going to want to do this because it resets the prices. The first 10 are cheaper, and then it'll kind of basically exponentially increase the prices. And so you're going to want to spend the 10 per day if you do decide to gamble and not go over that. And then for the hilts, you can buy your rare crest per day. You can buy whatever you wanted to buy per day. So that's kind of miscellaneous over there. And one last thing, pick up your dang rare crest from the Elder Rift if you want to. It's a free rare crest, great rare crest, and you should probably do that every day. And along this note, this is kind of like a weekly reset. And I figured I should mention this because it's not really a daily thing. You can do this, and it is worthwhile for sure. But it's a lot of activity, and sometimes you can't do it without a group. Okay, so without a group, you're not going to be able to go ahead and get the bonus weekly limit, potentially, because you may not have enough rare crests saved up if you don't prioritize properly. But if you are someone that has extra time on their hands, getting the weekly limit for the Fading Ember is going to progress your character a really nice amount. So after you've done your Helliquary, which I think is a little bit more important, after you've done your one Bestiary, you got your normal gems, you got your Horadrim, which by the way, this should only take you about 20 to 30 minutes. If the Helliquary is there, it might take you to 45 minutes to an hour. And then you could run like 2 to 3 Elder Rifts for another 10 minutes, do your daily dungeons, another 30 minutes or so, and then do whatever shadow activities. Basically, this list is planning for about an hour to 2 hours per day in the game. So keep that in mind. But Fading Ember is another thing to kind of keep out for or look out for, because the weekly limit for this resets every week, obviously, and really, really nice progression from that, especially if you're a free-to-play player. So I wanted to mention here in the miscellaneous, even though it's not necessarily a daily activity, it does really, really benefit from you doing it daily, even though you can just slam a bunch of them whenever you have time. So thanks for watching, everyone. Hopefully this helps. Again, I decided to do this because I had a lot of people ask me questions about it in the comment section. I've seen a lot of people join the game that are newer players, and I figured this is this is a perfect time to do it because they just dropped an update that actually changed the daily activities. So again, hopefully this helps. Let me know if you think I left something off the list, or you think that something should be on the list because it's super, super important, or even higher up on the list. I'm sure that some people think that, for example, the Fading Ember should be the #1 thing you should do after the Helliquary, for example. I don't think anyone would argue with the Helliquary because that is a time-gated activity. And honestly, anything that's kind of time-gated should be prioritized for the most part. But again, some things are time-gated by day, by week, etc. Like the Elder Rift, you can do it anytime during the week as long as you finish it. Whereas the Helliquary, you have to do at those reset times. For the normal gems, you have to do every day. That's why they're kind of higher up on the daily priority list, because you don't have as much flexibility with that. Thanks for watching, everyone. Like the video if you guys enjoyed. Sub to the channel if you guys want to check out more Diablo Immortal content. And I'll see you all